The Justice Department is considering reopening its investigation into the 1955 murder of Emmett Till. The Chicago teenager whose gruesome killing was a catalyst for the civil rights movement was visiting his great-uncle in Mississippi when Carolyn Bryant, a white woman, accused him of making sexual advances toward her. Emmett was snatched from his uncle's home by Bryant's husband and brother-in-law. 3 days later, his mutilated body was found in the Tallahatchie River. Roy Bryant and J.M. Milam were acquitted by an all-white jury, even though the two men later confessed in a magazine interview to killing Emmett. But in January, it was revealed that Carolyn Bryant Donham told the author of a book about Emmett's murder that her allegations against the teenager were a lie. Now, in light of that new information, the Justice Department says it is looking at the reopening of the case. Emmett Till's cousin, Deborah Watts, met with Attorney General Jeff Sessions last week, and Sessions expressed support for pursuing and prosecuting unsolved civil rights crimes. But the Department of Justice is warning against raised expectations, specifically in the Till case. In a letter to Mississippi Congressman Benny Thompson, Acting Assistant Attorney General T.E. Wheeler wrote, and I quote, "Even with our best efforts, investigations into historic cases are exceptionally difficult, and there may be insurmountable legal and evidentiary barriers to bringing federal charges against any remaining living persons." And joining us on the phone is Congressman Thompson.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Congressman Thompson. I really hope we're going to get somewhere on this case. Let me ask you, do you believe the government has enough information to reopen the case?
Well, there's no question about it. A lot of us who've been following this case for quite a while clearly believe that the evidence is there, especially when you have a witness, the primary witness in the case, who's recanted their story. And it's not like we heard the recant. This person has admitted. And as you know, anybody who has any knowledge of the Emmett Till case understand that this was one of the most horrific murders during the civil rights era. This was 1955, young man from Chicago visiting relatives, who was killed for supposedly making some gesture toward a white woman.
Mm-hmm. Congressman, I wouldn't even call him a young man. He was a little boy.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you've, I'm sure you visited the African American Museum in Washington. I went through the part of the museum where you can look at, Emmett Till's coffin, and they display the picture of what his face looked like. And it is, it's not only horrifying, it made me stand still in my steps. And then to have this woman, explain to the world that she lied, I wonder, have you been able to speak with Mississippi authorities about the possibility of holding her legally accountable? I mean, she lied to the FBI. That seems to me that is perjury on a federal level.
Well, no question about it, and that's why we continue to pursue the case. And there are a number of people who are doing this. Congressman Danny Davis, Congressman Bobby Rush from Chicago, also pursuing it. And so even those individuals who went and met with Attorney General Jeff Sessions, this is kind of an all-hands-on-deck effort. We've created the cold case files dealing with civil rights atrocities. We can't rest until every perpetrator of any of those dastardly deeds are prosecuted. So we continue to pursue it. I represent Tallahatchie and LaFleur counties where this occurred in the state of Mississippi. I'm prepared to continue to pursue it. This is just a step along the way to get justice for the Emmett Till family.
Now, have you spoken with members of the family, and if so, can you share with us what they've told you?
Well, down through the years, we've had constant contact about it. Obviously, as I've said, we're trying to get justice for the family. They are very torn up over it. As you know, the case was not in the minds of the family, and a lot of people, myself included, not prosecuted like it should have, Tallahatchie County. for a long time was not a good place for people of color. And so to have a trial there, individuals who are on trial laughing, chewing tobacco in the courtroom, just doing all kind of crazy things. This is just not the Tallahatchie County where African American could get justice, and that's what happened. The trial was a mockery, and so now I guess this lady is about to meet her maker, and she's trying to get right. But that's not how you get right when you her age. So we're pursuing it because it's the right thing to do. The Teal family has suffered since 1955, and we can't let their suffering be in vain. So we'll continue to press the case. The public pressure has gotten it to this point. And so for those individuals listening, please continue to demand justice for the Teal family and help us bring the perpetrator of this perjury charge back to justice so we can get that person, at a minimum, prosecuted for what she did.
Let me ask you, I mean, I was reading Jeff Sessions' comments about, this case and about old civil rights cases, and I'm frankly pretty torn, given his actions earlier this week and, sort of reopening and revisiting consent decrees and a lot of the concessions that police departments have made in the light of the murder of, Michael Brown and Ferguson and the things that we've seen in Baltimore and all over the country. And it leads me to ask, I mean, will there ever really be justice for African Americans, whether it is from the civil rights era and the likes of Emmett Till and Medgar Evers and others were murdered to today? I mean, do you really think they're going to take this seriously, or are they going to leave it to the states, throw their hands up in the air and say, well, we told you don't get your hopes up too high. It's very difficult to bring a federal charge. The state of Mississippi could have done something, and we're going to leave it to them?
Well, no question about it. I represent a part of Mississippi where the civil rights era started and continues to this day. A number of law enforcement agencies in my district are under some of those consent decrees. Those consent decrees were put in place because state and local government didn't support following the Constitution of their state and the United States as it meant for treating people of color. So the only option most of us had was to turn to the federal government for help. Now, Attorney General Sessions saying we're going to review this, let police do their job, and that's a chilling effect on a lot of people in this country because historically, as I said, the federal government was always the last line of defense against being mistreated. So if you now have an attorney general who is saying we're going to revisit this because we're not sure, that does not offer much comfort to millions of people in this country.
Well, Congressman, joining me on the panel this morning is Dr. Wilmer Leon III, SiriusXM host and author of the book Politics, Another Perspective. India Gary Martin, former managing director and global chief operating officer of technology and operations at JP Morgan. She's also the founder of leadershipforexecs.com. And Dr. Jason Johnson, political editor for The Root and political science professor at Morgan State University. Panel, any questions for Congressman Thompson?
I'm going to say this, and this is, Congressman, this is my primary concern, both political science and working in journalism. Do you have any faith whatsoever that this administration will do anything? I don't believe in Jeff Sessions. I don't believe in Donald Trump. He has a white nationalist as his national security advisor. I have no incentive to believe that they're going to do anything. This just seems like something that they say in some lame attempt to interact with the African American community, but I'm not at all convinced that they're going to do anything.
Well, a lot of us are of that same opinion, but I'm not certain that we have many choices. We can demonstrate our opposition, but somehow the rule of law has to come into play. I was not a supporter of this administration. I've not been a supporter of any of his appointees that President Trump has made. But as a member of Congress, as an American citizen, I have to demonstrate my opposition, but I also have to make them accountable if accountability is there.
Right.
Now, I feel like you, I'm not certain Jeff Sessions is going to do anything, but you can't not put him on the record by saying, look, here it's situations, you have to address them. Now, if you choose not to address them, then we hope the court of public opinion will force you to do it. And so we call ourselves, as members of the Congressional Black Caucus, the conscience of Congress. But also, we represent a lot of communities of color and otherwise that unless we say something about the inconsistencies of government, no one will.
For Roy Bryant and for J.W. Milo to admit that they murdered him, and for Jeff Sessions to say that, well, we still know about evidence, those are statements against interest. That's very easy to admit in court. For Carolyn Bryant to recant her testimony, that's obvious. Jeff Sessions was a former prosecutor.
Yes.
He should know better.
And she has written an unpublished memoir.
Yes.
I guess that it's supposed to be published after she passes away, or maybe in 2036. But the government could subpoena the contents of the book.
And on the political side, Ronald Reagan announced his candidacy for president in Philadelphia, Mississippi, which is near Money, Mississippi, which is where all of this took place. That was for a reason.
Yes.
And so not only does this resonate in terms of the African American past, this is still obviously an issue in the white American political future, present and future.
But I think one other thing I want to add to this is, look, whether it's this old white lady who lied 50 million years ago or people today, we have a fundamental issue in this country of white people lying on black folk and we die.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right? You got people who make false phone calls. I thought this person had a gun. They get shot by the cops. That person doesn't get prosecuted, whether it's John Crawford in a Walmart in Ohio or Tamir Rice. So, the idea that we can't even prosecute this today doesn't give me much faith that it's going to be prosecuted from 60 years ago. I appreciate the effort. It makes sense, but I don't have that kind of belief in this country.
Yeah, but I think there's an opportunity here, right? So Jeff Sessions has, nobody, I think, a lot of folks do not have confidence that anything will happen. However, this is an opportunity for him to demonstrate that he's prepared to do something and move on something. There are a lot of open cases, which we all have a lot of concern about. How quickly that moves or not, we don't know. But I'll tell you what, he has a real opportunity here. And if he doesn't take this opportunity and do something, there's going to be bigger challenges out there. I mean, much bigger challenges that we'll face.
But what is our response going to be? Because when Jeff Sessions lives down to our expectations and doesn't do anything, what are we going to do? That really should be the conversation.
So here's the question I'm going to pose to the Congressman and to the panel. Congressman, are there any African Americans in the administration that you believe that the court of public opinion, the African American community, and Americans at large can go to and rely upon to press the president and his Department of Justice to do something about this?
I'm not aware of anyone of color or anyone in general in this administration who has demonstrated support for this issue. But we still have to go forward. There's a short-term gain and there's a long-term gain in what we have to do. We have elections for the House of Representatives next year. If we can channel the lack of support and the frustration in this country toward elections next year, we can then change the House of Representatives, and John Conyers will be chairman of Judiciary. He can hold hearings. He can do the field hearings necessary to address some of these inconsistencies. But unless you have a platform and an opportunity to make this happen, all you can do is continue to raise the issue. Now, we plan to organize around these issues to show what's in the interest of the community. But this is an administration that is totally void, to my knowledge, of anyone who has support for the issue we're talking about this morning.
Well, Congressman, thank you so much for joining us. If you get your staff to put up a colorofchange.org petition, I will be the first person to sign it. And again, we thank you this morning for all of your work on behalf of the Till family.
A peaceful protest turned deadly. 37-year-old black man was shot and killed by Baton Rouge police. His hands are in the air, and you still get shot by the cops.
Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead.
We're not gonna let hate define us.
Race is a big part of this.
If truly all lives matter, then all lives need to matter equally.
What we require is action. What we require is accountability. We understand that black lives do matter, and we will keep focused on this issue.
NewsOne Now, every weekday morning at 7 on TV1.